Hello, this is Rory with the Love Chat, and today's topic is 10 Signs of Attraction. Now, this is video number 97. If you have a question you'd like for me to consider featuring on the Love Chat, please write it in a comment below. And if you enjoy these videos, I would appreciate it if you would please subscribe and hit like. Also, if you'd like to do a Skype or email coaching, I recently discounted the prices again because I got so many messages about how grateful people were that the prices were kept low. And I think I'm going to keep them low for a little longer. So, be sure to sign up for coaching if that's something you feel like you need. Now then, let's talk about the 10 signs of attraction. And these are backed by science. Everybody likes proof about what we're talking about. So, I'm going to give you some proof and some studies, and I'll link them in the description. So, while I said that these are 10 signs of attraction, these are not the only 10 signs of attraction, but perhaps these are the more common, more subtle ones. So let's talk about number 1. And number 1 is subtle body language. Now, while on its face this might seem obvious, let's point out what exactly we're talking about here. First and foremost, head tilting. When somebody tilts their head at you, they're more interested in figuring out what you're saying, and that means that they're more engaged in the conversation. And some other examples of subtle body language could be blushing, or being flushed. In other words, the blood is running to their cheeks to show that they are fertile. Dilated pupils, when somebody's eyes get bigger when they're looking at you because of that rush of dopamine. It feels good and pleasant to stare at something that you're attracted to. And the most common giveaway is the feet. Yes, it is true. I didn't believe it either, but when somebody's feet are pointing at you, that means they are more engaged in the conversation, and they are more interested in what you're saying, and they wish to be near you, in your direction. But you'll notice that if you are at a restaurant with a partner, or maybe a casual date, and their feet are kind of pointed diagonally, slightly away from you, maybe towards the door, that means that that's where their mind is at. We have to be careful with trying to read every little thing, because sometimes they might just shift and be more comfortable in a different position. So what we're talking about here is most likelies. We're not talking about definites. The next on this list, number 2, is a little obvious, but I think sometimes people overlook it and they get too into their head. Physical contact. This could be light touches on the arm, or the shoulder, or the elbow, or maybe pushing you when there's a little joke. Something like that. A physical touch, a reason to touch you, even by accident. If you're walking, let's say on a hike or on just a regular night walk with this person, and they bump into you, they might not even realize they're doing it, but it's in an effort to be more close to you. Okay, number 3 on this list is that they're excited for the next date. Now again, this one seems obvious, but it appears in different ways. Perhaps they try to ask what you're doing next week, right? And it will be more subtle than just, oh, hey, let's make a date. I mean, after all, we're on a date right now, and so wouldn't it make sense on the date right now to plan the date next time? So what do you do next week? It will be a bit more subtle than that, but all in all, they're excited for the next date, and they try to make plans, or they'll be slightly more subtle and try and find a way for you to get the next plan in motion. Number 4 on this list is an interesting one. It's called mirroring. Basically, they mimic you. Now, there was a study done in 2009 that found that men gave more favorable ratings to women who mirrored their verbal and nonverbal patterns in a speed dating setting. And again, I will leave that study down below. But this appeared in several forms. It was body gestures, maybe the speech patterns, and of course, smiling when you smile. Number 5 on this list is that they don't attend to the phone for longer than a few seconds, and they usually don't do it multiple times unless there's a good reason. In other words, they're not going to pick up and check their phone or their texts or Facebook every 10 seconds. If you see that on a date, that means that they're not engaged in what's going on, and so they're not very likely to be interested in you. But if they put the phone away or maybe face down on the table, and if they check it, it only happens once or twice, then you're in the clear. This person is engaged in you. Now, this one's a little tricky because it doesn't necessarily mean sexually or romantically engaged, but it does mean that they're interested in you in some way, shape, or form, even just as an interesting person. So don't look too far into the phone, but if they check it multiple times and for, longer than, 20 seconds, they might not be too interested. Number 6 on this list is that they're more interested in hearing what you have to say. Maybe they're going to ask questions about you. Now, the key here to increase attraction is to remain mysterious. Answer questions, for sure, but you don't want to give long, paragraphed answers. You want to give short, simple, and sweet answers and deflect the question back at them. You want, on a date, the person you're on the date with to be talking more than you. This one's important. When something is mysterious, it is attractive. So, that's number 6. Number 7 is laughing at things that aren't necessarily funny. Maybe it's something simple like a stupid pun, or maybe a silly joke that's cringeworthy. It could be anything along those lines. But you want to try a bit of a test here. The next time you're out on a date, tell a silly joke and laugh at it. So literally, tell a silly, kind of stupid joke or pun, and then laugh. If your date laughs too, chances are that he, she, they are interested in you. And they're doing this because even if they didn't find the joke funny, they're trying to please you. They're trying to give you something, to offer you some validation. And we've learned that validation given to a person will help them like us. It's not necessarily always true. We have to consider things like value, especially social value. But just try it, and you're going to be surprised with some of the results that you're going to see. Number 8 is that your date appears nervous or shifting often. They can't just sit still. Now, the slight caveat to this is that you'll most often see this on the first date because they're nervous to try and impress you. Again, we want to look at these signs in conjunction with the other signs. If you see that your partner is checking his, her, their phone for long periods of time and is shifting nervously and uncomfortably, it may mean that they're not interested. We want to use context when it comes to all of this. So if you see that your partner has some head tilting and maybe a light touch here and there and is smiling when you smile and they're shifting a little nervously, then that's a good set of things. We want to think contextually, not just one-offs. So for example, I see that when I smile, they smile, and they do the head tilt whenever I'm speaking about something at length. And this person has made multiple contacts with my arm. Contextually, these are all really good things, and so you're in the clear. Number 9 is when they lean in whenever you are speaking, or leaning in general. When a person leans forward, it means they want more of you. They want to be closer to you. Now, I know it's going to seem hard to understand because you might just think, well, what if that's how they're most comfortable? These things can't necessarily always work. There was a study done in 2010 called Nonverbal Communication, and I'll link the study below, that showed when somebody leans in, they have a desire to be closer to you. It's subconscious. They don't necessarily know they're doing it, much like a subtle body language cue of when a woman touches her hair. It's similar to that. And so, leaning in is a surefire sign of attraction, especially if it's consistent. Now, number 10 on this list is eye contact. I said earlier during the subtle body language is that you'll notice dilated pupils, and that certainly is subtle because it might be hard to see, especially if they have darker eyes. But eye contact. Our brains release dopamine, which triggers that pupil dilation when they look at you when you're talking. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be fixed on you the entire time, but it does mean that more often than not, their eyes will be pointed at you and engaged with you when they're listening to you speak. It's important, and it definitely shows attraction when you meet their gaze. Don't look away. Now, you don't want to be staring at them intently, but you do want them to know that there is mutual attraction, and so when they lean in, you lean back. When they look at you, you look at them. Simple things like that will help the attraction game. Now, as you all know, my professional job outside of creating YouTube videos and doing online coaching is behavioral analysis. And so these are all backed by science. And so using these to your advantage and remaining clear-headed will help you in the attraction game, and it will help you be a little more confident. But remember, what's most important is to be yourself and be proud of who you are. And you don't need to offer anybody anything other than your genuine self. Remember to take this time and focus on yourself. Remember to pursue the things that you love and meet somebody where you're out doing something you love. That, along with the 10 signs of attraction that I've listed, will help you be more successful and feel more confident. And confidence, when it comes to attraction, really is the entire game. That's all I had for today. If you found my videos helpful, I'd be very grateful if you'd subscribe and hit like. Please leave a comment below and tell me what topics you want me to cover in the future. Additionally, if you'd like extra videos every week, private live streams with me, and other perks, all you need to do is visit my Patreon at patreon.com/thelovechat. Until next time.